Okay, here's your quick tip. This one is about how to do a preliminary drawing when your concern is rhythmic interpretation, or developing a rhythmic movement in your composition. Now, there are lots of subjects that lend themselves to a flowing movement, and it's the flowing movement I'm focusing on for this particular quick tip. So on your canvas itself is where you will work. I use for this gouache. Gouache makes a wonderful little medium for doing a preliminary drawing before, as you're setting up for a painting. And so you can get the large tubes of gouache from the Da Vinci gouache. They'll last a long, long time. I have black and white, and I use those in a mixture of gray for doing the preliminary drawing. I like to have the gray rather than the harshness of the black. So here's how it would go. That's material. Oh, one more thing, the brush. This is just a watercolor brush, and because I'm more concerned with drawing than I am with laying in color or value, this watercolor brush makes a wonderful little tip for just getting the drawing. So it's a synthetic flat. Any synthetic flat watercolor brush will do the job. And water, a little container of water, and you're ready to go. Now, here's a photo that has the movement, the S movement. It's one of the rhythmic movement patterns that we have to work with in painting. We have the S movement, and we have the C movement. We have, of course, the backwards S and the backwards C. Those, and of course, just the curve itself. So those movements can, when repeated, create this wonderful rhythm within the painting itself. So to set that up so that you're focusing on the rhythm but not on the image so much, it's a good idea to start with a rhythmic pattern that you see. And you see right here I'm seeing this S pattern. So instead of starting with doing contour drawings of the edges, or even maybe just doing a gesture drawing of the image itself, what I would do is to start with this movement. So I'm seeing this, and I can move my hand, I can feel it, and then I can move my hand and I can draw it like that, just with the tip of the brush and just enough paint to make it visible. So from that point, once I find the movement, I associate this with this, and then I begin to find the rest of the movement in the painting. So then I begin to use very loose strokes and very quick strokes, allowing my hand to follow the movement that I see within the shapes, rather than to try to make a drawing of the image of the shape. Now the shadow here creates a shape, and so we would do that. Instead of trying to go all the way around the shape, I create the movement of the shape. We come right in here, the direction changes, and then we get another movement. This is also a curvilinear movement that is a portion of an S curve. And so we can do that and create that movement. You see the movement itself, it is a kind of gesture drawing in fact, but the movement itself then allows you to capture the spirit of the image rather than just a stiff shape of the image. Okay, so I might even continue that, and then I would go over here. Now, although the basic movement we're concerned with interpreting is S curve. S curve could be a portion of the S or the complete S. It could be a flattened version of the S, something like that, or an exaggerated version. So we're just looking for curve, and so then we would curve, then we would curve, and curve, and sometimes we would have a straight mark that interferes with the curves, and that's perfectly okay. So let's see here, we'll come around and we have another curve. The important thing is to keep that brush moving in a curvilinear fashion. So curve, 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 like that. And wherever your eye flows, you allow your hand to move. It's sort of as if you were a conductor, as I said before, sort of as if you were a conductor of an orchestra. And see, now I have a visual, a visual impression of movement, and now I can take that movement, and with that I can build. Within that, I can build a painting of this that has already built into it the potential visual movement of the flowing curve. And there's your quick tip.